makes a abode in our hearts. Amen. People in the prison yards all around the world, they fight for domination. They fight for power. If they only knew the power of God. Amen. It supersedes all the power that the world can offer and goes beyond. And that same power He gives us. Amen. He told the disciples when He ascended, all these things that you've seen me do, you can do and greater. It's up to us to tune into that station, have that spiritual radar, and take that key and unlock that door. Amen. Now, a lot of times, through generations and generations, we go back, all the way back from the beginning, and we see the ages. People lived a long time, amen. You know, you see 100 years ago, 200, 500, 700, 800, 900 and something, 65? I'm not sure. But 900 and something years old, one guy lived. I can't say his name. Yes, Methuselah. But he lived a long time. Just imagine all that he saw. Everything that he experienced. First seeing his mom and dad pass, his grandma pass, his kids pass, his kids' kids pass, his kids' kids' kids pass. But it's a long time. You know, I'm sure that he had the same elements that we have today. I'm sure they woke up kind of stiff sometimes. They didn't have machines to do their work like we do today. They did it right here with their hands. So I'm sure they had muscles that was sore, bones and joints that ached. Just imagine 900 and something years what you felt like. And today, I'm getting somewhere. And today we mope and complain and, well, I'm just getting up in the years. I just can't do anything. You know, I've had, let's see, I think 5 pastors I know who has retired. I can't find that in the Bible. I'm not talking about retired of their physical labor. They retired pastoring. Oh, I minister somewhere, but you retired pastoring. If that was your call, you should do that until you take your last breath. Amen. Till you take your last breath. But people have in their mind that they're getting old, so they can't do anything. Let's send the young whippersnappers out. Let's send the young ones out. You better be careful sending young ones out. Because if they haven't properly been trained by the elder, come on, they're going to do more damage than good. So we find ourselves with Joshua. Now listen what God said to Joshua. And I believe it's for each and every one of us here today. No matter how old, aches and pains we have or are. It says, now Joshua was old and stricken in years. And the Lord said unto him, Thou art old and stricken in years, and there remaineth yet very much land to be possessed. Now, church, I'm here to tell you, there's very much land today that needs to be possessed. No matter your age, you may not be able to physically walk the streets, but you have a phone, and let me tell you, I know you know how to use it. You can get a pen and paper. You can take that phone book and open and start writing letters to someone about Jesus. Don't know, but it has all the information you need. You can send it to them. So just like Joshua, the Lord said to Joshua, you're old and stricken in years, but there's yet very much land to be possessed. Now, first off, there's one land greater than the harvest at first that needs to be possessed, needs to be overcame, needs to be conquered, and that's this land. Amen. Your own land, your own heart, your being, the flesh. It needs to be conquered. Amen. So we must conquer it. We must conquer it. Then we go out to the highways and byways and conquer Bernie. Possess it. We go to Malden and possess it. We go to Dexter and possess it. We go to Powelltown and possess it. Poe. So on and so forth. But there's very much land that needs to be possessed. And very few people who's willing to go out there and work the fields. Be that plower. Amen. One can plow it out, bust up the clocks. In other words, bust up the stubborn people, huh? The other one can plant seeds. Go by a word of encouragement. And let God do the increase. Amen. But we find people, making excuses after excuses after excuses. Listen here what Paul said to Peter. In Galatians chapter 2, verse 11, it says, But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face. I withstood him to the face because he was to be blamed. Now, why was he to be blamed? He was to be blamed because he was pretty much forcing people to be circumcised. He was bounding them by a law. And Paul was so sick and tired of seeing people being bound by law. God gave us grace. Amen. Now, we wouldn't know grace without the law, but we shouldn't be locked up in prison of the law. So Paul goes to Peter, looks him straight in the eye, face to face, says, You're to be blamed. For before that certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles, but when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision. How many Christians do you see that do that? You know, they're with one crowd, but then when another crowd, they want to separate themselves. Oh, I wasn't with them. No, not me. Now, Paul was observing Peter. It's a twofold message, if you kind of caught that already. One was about the age, and now this is being in your rightful place. find my place here again. I'm in Galatians chapter 2, verse 12. He withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision. And another Jew dissembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation. But when I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Peter before them all. Oh. Now this is what you call an open rebuke. Huh? When Paul's seen all this happening, when Paul's seen all this happening, he said it to him in front of them all. In other words, he didn't pull him to the side, pull him to the off and say, hey, you need to straighten up. You're not living right. You're not living according to what the gospel is saying. You know, the gospel is about God's grace, not about you being bound by the law. You know, it's by faith. Huh? Not by works. That's what Paul was basically saying. That's what Peter was doing. You have to be circumcised. You have to do that work. You know, we are saved through grace, but we are saved because of faith. We believe in God. We believe what he said, that he hung on the cross 2,011 years ago. And he spread out his arms and he said, it is finished. He paid the debt of sin right there. He didn't just take away the guilt, but he took away the sin. And he threw it away as far as the east to the west. He also threw it behind them. How many do I have? I don't have eyes behind my head, do you? So if you throw your sin behind you, can you see it? No. In other words, you know, the old saying is he threw it in the sea of forgetfulness. Huh? So Paul is observing this and he's seeing another gospel was being forced on these people. And he's getting fed up with it. So he goes to Peter and he tells him, you're to blame. You're the one who's preaching this. You're the one who's teaching this. You need to knock it off. Then